How to get shredded in 10 weeks, how to go from 20% down to 10% body fat in 10 motherfucking weeks. We're going to be speaking about a Gorilla Platoon transformation that just finished last week. These are, as you know, if you are a returning viewer of the channel, my favorite videos to make because why? All we're really doing is speaking about what we did. We tried this and this is the result we got. And then we get to teach it back. This is not me going, yep, this is what works. No. This is what we trialed. This is the result we got. Here's my findings so you can implement for yourselves. So let's roll straight in. If you are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Tom Sergey and I run the Gorilla Platoon, which is an online physique transformation program where we get more results than we can fit on one page now. So we're going to stack more and so we can do 2 pages for you and just show that we are a man worth listening to or not. You will make your decision up by the end of this video. Now, what we're going to cover in today's video is going to teach you how to get shredded in 10 weeks, providing you're in around the space of 10% body fat, although the principles are the same. Even if you're not, the time frame will just be longer. So what we're going to cover is how to set up for success. We're going to go over food, workout, output, and recovery, so the tactics that are going to get you there. Then when and how to make a change to your plan so you can keep things moving down towards the goal. And then finally, you fucking made it. How do you keep it and not royally fuck it up like most people do? And before we do that, just to get eyes on the overall results so you can see what he looked front, side, and back. This is where he started out at 20% body fat, 74 kg. And then in this photo here, at least 10%, maybe even a touch crisper, maybe. Maybe he was 19 and now he's 9. Either way, we pulled off 10 kg. So coming in 64 kg on this last shot. Skinned out lean to the bone. Probably one of my favourite results, to be fair, to this date, just for how his end physique really looks. Like, real nice nice look to it. We'll explain how we got there. So, first and foremost, we're going to set you up for success. How I do this personally is I created my own calorie calculator so I could do this. So, you will take your scale weight, stand on the scales, weigh yourself, and then what I do is compare to this body fat chart here. 20, maybe he was a touch lighter. Maybe to be fair, you could have said he was more 19 and we got him down to 9. Either way, we dropped 10 kg. But what you'll do is, the point I'll labour on there is, you're going to look at the images on here and gauge where you are. Now, you're not going to be 20, 15, 25. You're going to be somewhere in between, more than likely. And when estimating body fat, it is an estimate at best. Even the DEXA scan doesn't know truly how much body fat you have. The only way we truly know that is if we cut you up into pieces and then put your fat scales on, or fat on one scales and everything else on the other. So it's only an estimate. And that's why I would say for you at home, you're not going to go and get a DEXA scan. You're not. You may go to the local gym and then you're going to hold these weird things. It's going to spit you out a thing. That's not fucking accurate either. The best bet is honestly to use photos because photos don't lie. Take them in clear-cut lighting and you'll be able to see all the detail from there. Next things we want to look at is lean mass. So this guy has 60 kgs of lean mass. From there, he has an RMR of 1664. Why is that important? You don't want to go below that. Ever. Then you want to understand what's your activity level. Most people are going to sit here at moderately active and training 3 to 5 days a week. If you're really active, that's people that have a day job in construction or the military, and you're training 6 to 7 days a week. Very few of you will be in the extremely hard, unless you are like pure athletes, in which case probably don't need to be watching my videos. And then maybe some of you sit in the 135 because your job is really sedentary. You just don't move around that much, and therefore you don't need as much input. So from there, you're going to get a maintenance target, and that's going to be worked out from here to here. So this times by this gives you the maintenance. Now, when someone starts out leaner, 20%, 19, 18, 17% body fat, I do not go in an aggressive deficit. Why? Because they're not carrying that much body fat that you need to make it aggressive. You will find if you do that to people that are leaner, they will fucking starve to death and they will quit very, very soon. The only people you can go massive deficit is people that have a lot of body fat because essentially they've got a lot of food sat on them ready to be eaten by the body. So when you're leaner, you don't have that. I cannot go any lower than like 2,800 calories when I need to get shredded. And I'm hungry at that amount of food. It's just the way my body works. Everyone's different. So I like to start on higher food. So this guy started in and around the space of around 2,400 calories, 2,050. 2,350. And then you want to start with food nice and high. From there, you're going to get given your macros, which is going to be made up of protein done first. Protein is your lean mass times by 2.4. Nice and high for protein, nice and satiating, recover from sessions. Fats at 53. This is 20% of the overall target, and this is going to be your first COA that you do pull from when you do pull from food. And the rest is filled with carbs. Carbs are sacred. Carbs drive gym floor performance, and that's the biggest retainer of tissue. Now, let's go back into the next set. So we've set you up for success. The next thing we want to look at is food. So that is one of these staples. When you are creating your diet, it wants to be simple. It wants to be a small shopping list. It wants to be easy to prep. And dare I say it, it wants to be boring. You do not need variety when you are dieting down. You need it to be simple, and you need it to be something that you can stick to long term. Do not try and get these fancy diets off fucking Instagram, because the principle in itself of you trying to get lean is not about you eating Oreo protein ice cream, but it's within the macros. It's about the person you needed to become, the man of discipline that ate the whole foods to get there. So don't eat like this random bullshit. Now, you've obviously got your macros, and then you're going to build the diet off the back of it. So this guy needed 144 of protein. Let's go straight to 40 grams of protein, and you're going to choose from your sittings from there and making sure we're dividing that 144 up across all meals. Here's your protein options you're going to eat. Stick to the basics. Stick to lean options: chicken, turkey, whitefish, tuna, protein powder, yogurt, egg whites. Done. Don't overcomplicate it. You like some of those foods, right? Fats. Nice and simple. Maybe you could have eggs in there so the yolks are giving you your fats, or it's going to come from nut butters, dark chocolates, or maybe some nuts itself, or some avocado. The rest is going to be filled with carbs. Carbs are going to be broken down into two factors. Either your starchy carbs that you're going to have away from the workout, they're going to fill up your glycogen stores, but do not eat them just before, because you will not digest them quick enough and use them for energy. They're going to be things like oats, then I would say pasta. Then you're starting to get into things like rice and potato, which are a little bit quicker to digest than the first two, but also not something that I'd have just before the session. Things that I'd have just before the session would be something like fruit, very high on the GI scale. Something like bread, specifically white bread, although white and brown, they're pretty much the same on the GI, with a small difference, with like some jam or something on top of that, and that will digest real quick around the session. And that's it with the diet, boys. Do not overcomplicate it. Simple foods, shopping list as small as possible, as cheap as possible, and as easy to prep as possible. Workout. How are you going to train? Well, it depends on your ability to train. You're either going to follow a 3-day split if you're brand new to training. That's going to be a full body training split. For quick context, I will show you now. 3-day split, which is going to be full body A, full body B, and it's just essentially full body. So there's an example session: leg press into lat pull down, line hamstring curl into dumbbell press, for the incline, lateral raises for the delts, push down for the tricep, preacher curl for the bicep, and in the B session, it's the sister exercises of all of them: row instead of pull down, flat machine instead of incline machine, hip thrust, leg extension, bang, bang, bang. That's what you're going to do for a 3 day. If you can train 4 days, you're going to take the same theory, but you're going to give more attention to the body itself. You're going to go full body push and full body pull, everything on the front of the body, everything on the back of the body, and you're going to do these workouts twice each with a rest day in between. If you've been training for a fair amount of time, you're going to do the holy grail of training splits, which I find work really well. Push, pull, legs, then your rest day. Chest and back, and then delts and arms. This is, I find, to be the greater program for building an aesthetic upper body physique. It's the one that I've used to get the majority of these results, so take that and copy that how you will. Output. If we're starting food high, you have to start output high. You can't have fucking both. So I'm an advocate, and I've made a video on why you want to keep food higher for the longest period of time, but also move output higher first. First and foremost, the higher you can keep food, the better you will perform in the gym. The better you will perform in the gym, the better you will build, or at the very least retain muscle tissue. Training stimulus is the only way you will build and retain tissue. Always remember that. You can eat all the protein in the fucking world. If you don't train hard, you will not keep or build muscle. So that's why we want to keep food high for that reason. Also, it will aid in recovery. Also, it will aid in adherence to the diet. But then that means you're going to need to push your output up higher. Now, that's also a blessing, because most of these people at their hearts are athletes, like you probably are as well. If you like doing cardio fitness and see yourself as a bit of an athlete, then guess what? It's going to serve you to push up the output, because not only by the time you finish are you going to look better, not only are you going to be stronger because you resistance train, not only are you going to be lighter because you're leaner, you're going to be fitter as well. So why not cash that in? The polar opposite is take your food really low, gym floor performance suffers, and you're not fit anyway at the back end of it. It doesn't make sense to me why you would want to do that. Other than time may be an issue for you, in which case make fucking time. What does output look like? Something that's non-impact. You don't need to go out running. You don't need to go sprinting. You just need to use some CV equipment. I would start on the lower hierarchy of cardio, being the lower hierarchy, the incline treadmill walk, heart rate 120 to 130, and count those minutes when you're start at 20 minutes daily, by the way, and start counting the minutes when you're at the heart rate. To progress that, go onto a cross trainer. To progress that, go onto a Stairmaster. Obviously, you can increase the heart rate as well as you go through, but you're also going to increase the daily duration that you do it for. You will also do steps, 10,000 steps each day. Very, very useful tool. Low cost of fatigue. The holy grail for burning body fat, to tell you the truth. It just takes a little bit more time. Finally, recovery. You will sleep for 8 hours every night as a non-negotiable. I don't care whatever situation you're in. Make it fucking happen. Cut out some shit. There's probably some time that you're wasting. Quickest way to do this, go into your settings on your iPhone and it'll tell you how long you're spending on your phone. Some of that time is probably idle time that could be spent sleeping. So screw that up for yourself and fucking sleep. Now, the big question is, so cool, you've got the setup. You know how much you're sleeping, you know how much you're moving, you know how you're training, you know what you're eating. When do you make a change? How do you make a change? You make a change when, and maybe I should have wrote this down for you to do, but you will record the data every day. You will weigh yourself every day. You will log the food you've eaten every day, the steps you've done every day, the sleep you had every day. Now, at the end of the week, you will be able to look back on the 7 days worth of data and get the averages. So you'll see, how much did I drop that week? Did you drop a kilo? Yes. Don't touch anything. Did you drop a kilo? No. Well, were you adherent? Yes. Then the plan needs to change. Increase output by 10 minutes of cardio per day. Rinse and repeat. You weren't adherent and you didn't make progress. Why? Well, probably because somewhere along the lines you didn't map out what you needed to do tomorrow the night before. You didn't make the effort to do the thing, and therefore you're not going to get the result. Remember, I can give you these tactics. If you don't fucking become the man you need to, you'll fuck it up. If you just think about the abs, like was in the last video, you won't get the abs. You need to become the guy that can get the abs. It's about the discipline. It's about the waking up early. It's about following the non-negotiables. It's about not cheating on your diet when you said you weren't going to. Adherence is a very, very easy thing. Just do what you're told on the diet plan and you will get the result. But most motherfuckers, somehow their own brain will try and sabotage them from doing the right thing. Turn your brain off, follow the plan, you will get there. Now, how you make a change, again, increase the output, or as it gets later into the dieting phase and time is becoming an issue, then take from food. When you take from food, no more than 150 to 200 calories in one sitting, and that depends on how high you started. If you started on 2,000, which most of you shouldn't be doing, you're only going to pull 100 because it's relative to the overall amount of feeding that you're on. And you're going to rinse and repeat that out every week, listening to your body, collecting the data, looking at the data, making the decisions when it's correct to make a change in order to see the drop off each and every week. And if you do this right, you'll pull a kilo off per week. If you're only starting at 19 or 10, 20% body fat, 10 kilos, your fucking job done in 10 weeks, boys. Absolutely rapid. Now, you made it, you got there, you look like this. How do you not fuck it up? Well, your first COA that you're going to do is a reverse diet plan. This means when it finishes, it kind of doesn't really finish. You're still going to be dieting for another 4 weeks after that, but it's going to get progressively easier as you go through. So you have hit your bottom ceiling. Let's say you started at 2,400. By the time you finish, you only made 2 changes to food, and you ended up at 2,000. Cardio was all the way up at 60 minutes. Now what do? Well, you can reduce the cardio to like 30 minutes per day. Keep it in, keep active, keep moving, keep the steps in. You can then add a little bit of food back in, start with 200 calories. Ideally, it's going to go through carbohydrates around the workout to restore any gym floor performance that start to drop off towards the back end of the transformation. You're going to hold that for a week. You're going to assess, see what happened to the scale weight, and most of all, make sure that you don't ruin the condition. The scale weight can increase, but the condition should still hold if you do it this way, because your body will need that food. Your body will technically still be in a deficit. Therefore, if you keep doing the outputs and the training, you're just stacking it with a little bit more food. It gets used to eating that more food. and doesn't put it on too quickly. Now, the other option is you go all the way to maintenance straight away. I've never done it like this. Maybe you can trial and let me know. I won't ever do it like this for my people because I know the reverse staircase method works. Where there's, if from my understanding, if you stack a load of food on in one go, your body's not going to be able to use and absorb it all. So where's some of it going? Water weight, potentially body fat eventually. So that's why I prefer the staircase approach. It's harder. Of course it's harder. But it's only 4 weeks. Every week you should be able to progress some more food inside of you, and your training will go through the roof, and you'll fill out a bit more as well because all your glycogen stores will fill back up to the brim. And the one thing I'll say with this is, don't get too out of bed if you start to feel a touch watery around the midsection where you were crispy lean, just because it's the equivalent of like when you run a high carb day and then you eat a little bit too much, you get this spilled look where it's like a little bit watery, where there's just more, your glycogen stores are completely full and there's a little bit of a watery look. That can be like washed off very, very quickly. So don't concern yourself too much if that happens. Ultimately though, your most difficult task will be you dieted for 10 weeks, you were rigid, and now you're not technically dieting down to be lean, but you still need to be rigid. And that's probably where it's hardest and where people fuck it up the most. Because there's no real rules, but if you were with me, the rule is, no, still stick to the diet until we hit your maintenance, and we can sit at maintenance for a couple of weeks, then we're complete. Then we've done the job. So that is everything within a nutshell, and then you will get a result like this if you follow everything I say, literally. That is everything we needed to speak about in 16.5 minutes. If you found it useful, subscribe. If you want to work with me, book a call, and I'll take it from there.